So hey there and welcome back to We Don't Do Boring, Andy's podcast. This is my spot on the little blue and green dot. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about our fundamentals, which are communication, experience, time, money, balance, and compromise. But more particularly than that, we're going to talk about the balance in communication. Because recently I've been talking to somebody and they told me how they didn't really like talking to strangers and they couldn't sort of start a conversation. It's not that they're shy, because they didn't appear to be shy to me, but of course there's text and phone communication is not the same. So, and I said, well, you don't appear to be sort of lacking for words. You're very eloquent and you communicate well. Well, yes, but that's not the same. And I went, okay. And so I said, well, what do you do when you find it's really hard to communicate with people? She said, I take a friend. I said, you take a friend? What, to your meetings? And I thought, wow, that's a strange thing to do. And, I can't imagine turning up with one of my friends to a meeting about what I'm going to do. But I've got so much experience that this is what I'm trying to pass on. But then I thought about it and I thought, well, okay, wait a minute. There have been times when I've had friends, compatriots, people I know in the room who, if I wanted to make a point and I wasn't making it correctly or I was drifting off, they would step in and say, well, I know that Andy's already got experience with this because I've been to one of his sites and I've seen this, or I've done this, or he's done that. I sent a family to him and they were just blown away, or whatever it was. They would back me up. So it's a backup thing. And I thought, yeah, that's happened to me. Okay, I didn't take a friend, but they happened to be there. So, but then I thought, wait a minute, there's a balance in communication here. How do you get that gusto? How do you get more confidence if you're shy, if you have anxiety about going to meetings? I know a lot of people do that. Well, I find I have to I have to find a link. I have to find a communication link with the people or the place or something that will link me to them. It doesn't matter. So if I go into a meeting room with no indicators whatsoever, it's a blank room and there's 20 people in there I don't know. Tough gig. But it's not tough because you have to sit there and listen. And then when you find that link, because somebody will say something, they'll say something that you can link to. That's why it's important. I was once told if you think every morning meeting is boring, you'll never go to any. And I said, okay, well, what should I look for? Because I am bored in this meeting. And they said, view every meeting as a chance to learn. And all you have to do, even if it's a 3-hour meeting, you have to take one thing away that you've never heard before. And he said, then the meeting's a success, isn't it? Because you've learned something. And I said, but one thing from 3 hours? He said, yeah, but that one thing in 3 hours could change your life. And that is absolutely true. So I never went to meetings after that when you with an attitude is, oh, this is a waste of time, I'm not going to learn anything, because there's always something you can learn. So that was what I got from that, and that helped me. That was a long time ago when I was in insurance. So yes, sold insurance. What a surprise. And I had a great time. But again, that was about communication. So, and there was times when I couldn't form a link with my clients or my potential clients. I would go out and try and sell to them, and I had nothing to link to them at all. And that was a tough day when you couldn't make a connection with anybody. It's a tough day in insurance. You went home and you try to pick your head up and not feel depressed. And you went out again the next morning, went to a different area or went to a different place and started again. And it never lasted long. So I'm very self-motivated, and I was able to pick myself up and go, okay, that was yesterday, this is today. So a meeting room with no indicators, you listen. If on the beach, the people who are coming to my lessons, my Sandcastle lessons, they don't know me. They might have seen me on YouTube, but they don't know me and they don't know what to expect. So how do I do that? How do I find the link? Well, the link is by making them comfortable. So I put a towel on the floor and say, please put your bags on the towel. That's what it's there for. If you haven't got much drinking water, don't worry, I've got some of that with me. We're going to have a lot of fun today. How did you find me? And just talk about the little things that make them feel comfortable. So they give me the answers, and mom wants to feel comfortable, wants to keep things clean. So do the girls, The boys just want to be on the beach, don't we, boys? And so we try and make life comfortable in the first 5 minutes of any lesson to get people more relaxed. And then, if I ended up at a bar with, I was traveling or whatever and nothing to talk about, or any room or any hotel or anything, I'd look around and see what was on the wall. Look at the walls, look at the decoration, look at where you are. And that gives you a link to what the bar is used for, who runs the bar, who owns the bar, the sort of client you're going to get. If there's fish all over the wall, it's a fishing place. But it could be NASCAR, fishing, football, ballet, underwater synchronized swimming, I don't know. But the indicators will be on the wall. So if you're absolutely stuck, you can pick something off the wall, but it's not something that causes a conversation, and of course bars have all got TVs in them now which are going blah blah blah, but if you don't want to start a conversation and you haven't got any link and somebody talks to you and says, oh, what about this, if you don't want to talk about the situation, you have to say, well, I don't know anything about that, I'm in town for this and whatever. So and that's, so it's a tough one, but the hardest one is the meeting room with nothing in it. So, but then somebody needs that. This person said that I take a friend, I take a buddy, and I'm like, because I want to feel more comfortable. And I said, well, do they know what you're going to do? If you go to a meeting with a buddy, do they know everything about you? Well, no, of course not. It's just for me. And then I thought, wow, okay, perfect, and that's true. Because when I have a large group, I know that I can't handle more than 20 people, 20 to 30 people on my own. Okay, but if I have 50 or 60 or 100 people, I need more instructors. And my instructors all know what I know to a level. They all know the instructions and how to build sandcastles, all that stuff. So I need more instructors. I need more help. And they are my friends, obviously. So I do take more people. And then in strange rooms, a communication buddy is a great idea. I've been to a lot of meetings where I don't know anybody, and so I just listen. But if I took somebody who knew what I did, it would ease my anxiety. I wouldn't be worried because I know I've got somebody right next to me who knows what I'm talking about. And so that's a good idea. And then you can't really take your friends to meetings at work, can you? No. But let's say you have a compatriot or a fellow worker who has the same issues as you have. And as we talked about before, you don't want to just march into the boss's office, so you send an email. Well, one of the things you could do is if your person next to you in that office has the same problems, the same issues, and it's something small that can be resolved, or it's an issue with communication, why not both go together? Because then the boss will know it's not just one person, and you're not complaining, you're looking for a resolution to a problem. And the problem, if it's resolved, will make you more efficient, and the boss will like that because he gets more work out of you. So he's prepared to listen. If they're a good boss, they're prepared to listen to the issue, and you'll be able to resolve it. But the fact that there's two of you sitting there makes the thing more powerful. It's not your argument, it makes your point more viable, because there's two of you saying you've got the same problem and all you need is this to fix it. And so let's fix it then. You don't take four of you because that's a gang. So you take your friend. If somebody who wants to approach it like that, a lot of people won't do anything about it, they'll just carry on. But if you want to get out of your bubble and fix that problem, and you've got a friend who's the same, both go and do it. And I thought that's a great idea. I hadn't really thought about buddying up, because I just don't do that, because I do things that are fairly unique. So it's my sort of gig, if you like, my show. So I didn't really even think about it. But yes, I have been in places where I need a buddy. So that's why it balances. So in this case, two does go into one. Two people on one side, one person you're meeting, because you then act like one person. All right? Let's get over here. All right? You've got two here, and you think it's going to be like this with two people. It's not going to balance. Well, it does, because you're the only one talking, but you're talking because you're more relaxed. You can communicate more comfortably. You can communicate with more concise details. And because you're relaxed. And without that relaxation, you can't do anything. And it does take some bravery to walk over the threshold. This particular person has just told me that they walked in somewhere cold and asked whether they can put their advertising up. which I was very happy to hear. That was terrific. And yeah, that was just really nice that she's gone out and she's walked into somewhere completely brand new and said, would you mind? And she said the lady was lovely. So that may help build a bridge to walking into more places. And I was just thrilled. It's great. You can help somebody, because I said, well, what are they going to say? No. I mean, what's the worst? Okay, thanks for your time. Just walk out. And, well, of course, I had plenty of practice because I sold insurance door to door, so... and I was used to the word no. And, but unless you ask a question, the answer is always no. I learned that a long, long time ago. So, just like in my art practice, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you think you've made something so fabulous and you'll be able to sell it to these people, wrong. Somebody might come out of left field and say, that is magnificent. I'll buy that. Thank you. And it'll be somebody you've never even thought of. And you'll think, really? Okay. Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's when you make outdoor art, especially, somebody comes along, they will have a space for that particular thing you've made. It doesn't matter what you think it's going to do. You'll be surprised all the time. And I've been surprised throughout my whole career about that. And I'm very grateful to the people who came out of left field, made the time to stop their car, come and look around and then go, oh, look at that. That would go in my garden. And then, it's never usually a fast deal. They don't buy it immediately. They usually buy it once, after a while. It's just not done, immediately, So anyway. So there you go. So the balance in communication is making yourself more comfortable so you can communicate more effectively. So whatever it takes. So if it takes a buddy, go for it. Right? I never even thought about this before. That's why I'm talking about it. And but I have experienced it before. I've had people, for example, I had a lady who I thought was in a team of landscape architects because I never met her on my own. She always bought another landscape architect. Well, it turns out a lot later, like a year later, I found out, well, yeah, she just didn't like being on her own. So she always took her friend. She wouldn't go and take a meeting without her friend going with her. And they're both landscape architects, so they can both talk about some. But it was her project, but she'd always take her friend. And I didn't even think about it. And then I said, your team. She said, my team. I said, yes, you always have your friend with you. And your team, it's a fantastic team. And she said, no, it's just me on my own. Well, what's she doing here then? Oh, I always take her to meetings. Yeah, it just makes me feel more comfortable. And I never even thought about it. So, so that's it for today. If you find that communication is a problem, balance the communication and by making yourself feel more comfortable. I mean, it's a ridiculously simple concept, that, isn't it? But it will work. I didn't even think about it before this lady said, I don't feel comfortable about starting conversations. I mean, I've never met strangers, so I don't, I said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, are you nervous, shy, anxious? She said, well, yes, I don't need to do that, do I? I said, well, yes, you do. If you're running a business, you need to go and talk to more people if you're going to start something. And I said, how are you going to get over that? And then she told me about taking a friend. And I said, oh, fantastic. So why not try it? So my experience has been affected by somebody else's experiences. But it's a great idea. And I thought, well, I'm going to pass that on. Because people who are alone and if you're on your own and you think there's no help available, or you go to a meeting and you think, oh, this is going to be tough because I don't know anybody. Well, find a link or take a buddy. So that's what I do. All right, well, that's it for today. Great to, thanks for your comments and for watching. Please subscribe, share, do all that stuff. I love the fact that people respond. It's really good. And remember, all creation begins with destruction, right? And we don't do boring. So go have some fun. Oh, and happy Independence Day. Had a fab time. It was great. And so, yes, hope you had a good time. And but now it's back to boring old work. Or boring old podcasting. But we don't do boring. Look, it says right there. And people say, that's just one thing, incidentally, about, you can tell the people who come to the beach, who go to a lot of meetings, because they'll say, thank you, Andy, without me even introducing myself, because it's on my shirt. That doesn't say Andy, it says another company. Right? they'll say, look, thanks, Andy, because they've read your shirt already. So it means that they read a lot of name tags, right? So, yes, I use my shirts for telling people who I am, because sometimes I can't remember, and telling people who I am, and it just passes on information. Like sandcastlelessons.com is on my back. Yes. So anyway, there you go. So take a buddy or buy a new shirt, whatever. Okay, have a good time. Bye.